Taylor Swift, I've always been confused by her level of success, honestly.
Absolutely confused.
And people have always had it in their minds that Taylor is, you know, subpar.
We all know that Taylor Swift is the most mediocre performer ever in the history of performers, and that she's really just been pushed forward by her rich father.
Hey family, welcome back to our channel. We are Velvet Devotion. We apologize, we've been gone for a little while. We are back now. We just wanted to talk about this specific topic today. So Mrs. B, what are we talking about?
So for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure everybody knows, Taylor Swift has just basically bitten herself in the butt. She decided a while ago to do an album, and it seemed like there were a lot of very specific references about Black women in terms of the language that she used, but the main thing seemed that she was targeting Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriend.
The podcaster and influencer Kayla Nicole clapped back at Taylor Swift after Taylor threw shade at her in her song Opalite. Now, just to give a brief backstory, Kayla is the NFL player Travis Kelce's ex. Travis Kelce is now engaged to Taylor Swift, but even though Taylor got the ring, she is still concerned about Travis's ex, Kayla. She was throwing shade at her in her song Opalite, and Taylor actually wrote about that from Travis's viewpoint. She said, "You couldn't understand it while you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose." And so she actually talked about that in her song, which is so random, but it kind of shows you that Taylor might feel a little threatened by Kayla, because why is she concerned about Travis's ex? Why?
This song accomplishes two things at once, right? It proves the fact that Taylor Swift is obsessed with Black women, and it endangers Kayla Nicole. But obviously our country is not at its best with critical thinking, so let's analyze a different part of the song, right? So another lyric says, "But I'm not a bad and this ain't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down." So in this song, Taylor positions herself as this unique, singular white flower that is so different from what? Black culture. And once you step back and realize the song is like final boss pick me X racism, you realize that Taylor Swift is preoccupied with this obsession with Black women, in part because Travis Kelce has predominantly dated Black women in the past, and she wants to define herself as different from his past and therefore better. Again, very weird, very pick me behavior. Taylor's not only preoccupied with this idea that Travis has historically dated Black women, it's also the reality that several of her exes have moved on from her to Black women, and that confounds and ultimately enrages her, and she's so obsessed with the pattern and the idea that she had to talk about it in this album. Chris, give me examples. Okay, well, we have Harry Styles, who is now reportedly dating Zoe Kravitz. We have Tom Hiddleston, who has moved on to be engaged to and co-parent with a Black woman whose name is Zawe Ashton. And then we have Calvin Harris, who went on to marry a Black woman named Vic Hope. So it is a pattern, and Taylor Swift is clearly aware of it because she is obsessed with her exes, and all of that together is making me feel very, very strange.
Now, you're probably wondering, what on earth does this have to do with creative people, and how can I learn from this? Well, first of all, the first point of this video was to just say that we should not be, as people who have been blessed or people who have been given an opportunity, we should not be coming against smaller creators. We should not be in a situation where we're prideful, boastful, egotistical, disrespecting people. What made the situation so bad was that Kayla Nicole was being sent death threats. She was being cussed, just for no reason, right? Because Taylor Swift had added her into her song. Even though she didn't mention her by name, Kayla Nicole came out and very specifically said that she was, this was affecting her mental health. She was terrified about looking at her comment section because the Swifties were attacking her.
At what point are we going to leave Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriend Kayla Nicole alone? Kayla Nicole has a podcast, and she went on that podcast essentially saying that she obsesses over the online trolls. These nasty comments really bother me. I'm terrified to read my DMs. I'm terrified to read the comments because I don't want to be triggered. And this comes just days after Taylor Swift mentioned her in her recent album, a song called Opalite. And after this song came out, some of the fans dug up an old video of Travis asking Kayla to get off her phone. I just don't understand, like, the consistent need to harass this girl. Taylor got the man. Like, she got the man. They're engaged. So what are people still doing in Kayla's comments? Like, it's enough. What point are you trying to prove?
And instead of coming out and defending Kayla, or just, even if you didn't want to defend her, you could just say, you know what, guys, you interpret things how you want to interpret it, but I never wanted anyone to be attacked. Please stop attacking her. But no, Taylor came out with a stupid, smug video with a stupid, smug smirk on her face, basically saying, you know, if you say anything about my album in my first week of sales, it's all good for me.
The rule of show business is if it's the first week of my album release and you are saying either my name or my album title, you're helping.
And then over the Halloween period, Kayla Nicole just destroyed Taylor Swift without even saying a word. She basically decided to be Toni Braxton. And it was just embarrassing, honestly.
Now, Taylor is a billionaire. She's a superstar. She has a lot going for herself, but you know, she's like a lot of women who get insecure and competitive over a man. And her taking digs at Kayla shows that. But Kayla gave the perfect and most strategic clapback. She waited until Halloween to dress up as Toni Braxton, and she recreated Tony's video, He Wasn't Man Enough. And she allowed the video and the song to do the talking. Y'all know, if you ever heard Toni Braxton's song, He Wasn't Man Enough for Me, Toni was basically telling this woman, I had your man first, but I chose to let him go. You chose to marry him. So stop blaming me. Stop acting so pressed. I don't want him, even though he's calling my phone, begging me to stay. But I told him to leave because he wasn't man enough for me. So Kayla basically used this song to spell it out for Taylor. She says she broke up with him. She don't want him. Stop worrying about me. And she ate Taylor up. She even showed her how a real showgirl gets down.
I think what made it embarrassing is that it's obvious that Taylor Swift is very, very upset about Kayla Nicole existing anywhere in Travis Kelce's past. Yeah, it's really just sad. Like, it's sad that as a grown woman, you feel the need to mention somebody else's relationship when this happened years before you, right? And Kayla Nicole was minding her business, doing absolutely nothing, and then she's attacked. So the first lesson we can learn is, if you have been blessed as a creator, you should not be attacking smaller content creators. Like, it really just makes no sense. We all know that Taylor Swift is the most mediocre performer ever in the history of performers, and that she's really just been pushed forward by her rich father, okay? We know that she is the image that, you know, everybody wants to be seen. But we know that considering all of these things, she's not more impressive than anyone else necessarily. No. She just has better opportunities.
Taylor Swift, I've always been confused by her level of success, honestly.
Absolutely.
And people have always had it in their minds that Taylor is, you know, subpar. Sorry to say, but like,
except for her Swifties, because they're just, obviously everybody has an audience.
You're going to get diehard fans, you know, and they're always going to be backing you no matter what. And that's great, you know, for you and as an artist, it's great to have that. But compared to any other artist, I don't think she has enough weight behind her in terms of her skill and ability to be trying to come against other people, whether it's based on your actual music itself, your skill, and in this situation as well, your looks. Like, you need to, you know, pipe down just a little bit. Just pipe down.
Absolutely.
Because it's not a case where, and don't get me wrong, yeah, everyone, we have this concept in the world that beauty is in the eye of the beholder or whatever. But there are times when things are clearly, obviously in the way that they are. So it's clearly obvious that someone is better looking than you. It's clearly obvious that someone is more talented than you. And if you, just because you're successful at something doesn't mean that you know, you are automatically better than someone else. You know, like, what's an example of this? For example, just because Bill Gates is a billionaire and he's dealt with computers his whole life, do you think Bill Gates is the best computer coder that's out there anymore? No, he's not. If Bill Gates tried to come out and compare himself to someone who's, you know, 40, 50 years younger than him, and who is doing this with the new technology that is going to actually further the companies that he has started, Bill Gates would be an idiot to try and challenge this younger person. Not to say that he's not smart enough to try and learn and get back there, but he doesn't need to now. But he's not in that position anymore where he can compare himself to someone who is drastically ahead of him in terms of skill. So it's all that's all it is at the end.
And you know what? It's not even like, I don't even want to sit here and make this necessarily a race thing. What bothers me is that Taylor Swift is not better than even the people in her own race. Like, when you compare her to the big artists in her own race, like Lady Gaga, right? When you think about other people, even, what's that new girl? She's always half naked, Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, when you really think about Taylor Swift's voice, her ability to write, the fact that she dances like some kind of funky pigeon, like, I'm not even trying to cuss her. I'm just saying, I don't understand how you feel so confident to throw rocks and hide your hands. Like, it's just confusing to me. And so I think this really bit her in the backside, because when Kayla Nicole came out and did the things that she did, which was basic, it was a basic Halloween costume.
Editing Mrs. B here. Please don't get me wrong. What Kayla did was very smart and well thought out. I just meant that Taylor spent months trying to write the perfect album that disrespected Kayla and black women in general, only for her plan to be foiled and for her to be shamed by a single Halloween costume. All of Taylor's efforts to look amazing and put herself on a pedestal really just made her look desperate and ridiculous. Instead of simply being a creative artist and keeping to your business, you decided to try and shame someone, and you just ended up looking like a pompous windbag. Anywho, back to our previously scheduled programming. Toodles.
And don't get me wrong, we're not promoting anybody being naked or celebrating Halloween, but it is a situation where sometimes you need to be humbled. And it's fascinating to me because I can't imagine Taylor taking this well. I can imagine her somehow plotting, even though she started it, even though she was the one who brought all of this up, she started it. So yeah, I think first of all, we should not be picking on smaller creators.
Yeah. And second of all, we should just stay humble. Like, as creators, as artists, stay humble, because at the end of the day, it doesn't serve you to be proud and arrogant above anyone else. I think there's a misconception amongst successful people that once you reach a certain level, you have the right to carry yourself in a certain way. You have the right to treat people a certain way. But truthfully, it doesn't actually help you in the long run. People just talk about you behind your back. They don't actually want to work with you going down the line. It's much better to treat people well and get that reciprocation back. Yeah, hold your ground, stand your ground, you know, don't let people walk all over you, but also treat people with respect, and then they will treat you back with respect. It's a similar thing in the Bible. You reap what you sow at the end of the day. Treat people how you want to be treated. There's very basic principles in life. And then when you get humbled by it, like, actually at the end of the day, when God chooses to humble you, it's way worse than when you humble yourself. So please humble yourself before God does it, before someone else does it, because it would be worse than you doing it for yourself. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you agree with what we said, please let us know in the comments. If you disagree with what we said, please let us know in the comments. And we look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye.